Hey guys, I'm delighted to be with Allison Kellen, who is the Mindful Clarity and Success Coach. How are you doing, Allison?
Hey, I'm good. Thank you so much for having me on today.
No problem, my pleasure. Allison, can you tell us a little bit more about your business?
Absolutely. So, I am a clarity and success coach for empathic and intuitive entrepreneurs ready to excel in their gifts and in their business. And I'm a mindfulness consultant helping to establish productivity and solid working structures in team environments.
Nice. I like that
Yeah.
term. I like mindfulness consultant term. I never actually heard those two together, but it actually makes a lot of sense to me, especially when you
Yeah.
apply it to corporate settings. So many people are into corporate wellness these days. I also really like your niche a lot because it's like I resonate with it. Like conscious
Mm.
business owners, purpose driven people establishing purpose driven businesses, people kind of who value creativity and kind of are intuitive business owners
Yeah.
in that way. And I think that's the perfect combination when you combine like the kind of business side of things with the more humanistic side of things. That's the kind of stuff that I like. So I love your niche. Um,
Thank you.
and we talked last time about you're launching this group program, or you already have a group program.
Yeah.
You're working on that. And what I'm really interested in knowing more about, because you have a successful group program, and I think a lot of people would love to hear about how do you structure that, what is involved in making that, and kind of everything that goes along with putting on a group program, getting people into it, and then actually the delivery side of things. How do you actually set it up and do it?
Mm.
So, first things first, like how does the group program work, and what got you interested in making one?
My group program was pretty much very organic growth. It's something I'd always wanted to do, but I was always really, really scared of doing it because serving a big group of people and having to hold a space for that amount of people made me feel as though it was a long way off in my future. And what I hadn't really understood and appreciated was that a group program of like-minded people is actually a really, really healthy way of getting a lot of peer support and helping a holistic nature of, people being inspired by other people who are further along on their journey, for other people who are all of a sudden realizing that they're inspiring other people and yet they didn't think they were that far along in their journey. So there is such a beautiful evolution in a circle format when you're in a group program. So to be able to facilitate something like that for me was pretty much a dream.
Hmm.
And I guess mine came about because I was running a challenge, a 7-day business building challenge, which I absolutely loved. And I was having so much fun that at the end of the challenge, I was seeing how much engagement I was getting. I was seeing how many changes in behaviors and personalities and I guess livelihood that people were having and the breakthroughs they were having just on 7 days. I continued the conversation and I invited the people that took part in the challenge into a beta program with me to ask them if they, wanted to take part in a longer term 12-week program. And the majority of them, I think 80% of them said yes. So I was like, oh my goodness, all of a sudden I have a program. So because they knew it was a beta group program, I interviewed each of them. I did a one-to-one with them, just like I would with any other program when I'm working with my one-to-one VIPs. And from that information, I could see exactly the stages of business they were at. I'd already worked with them for 7 days. I'd seen the level of engagement. So I created the group and the program around those ideal clients because they were exactly who I wanted to serve and work with. So the content that I created in the back end for them was exactly what they needed and desired and were leveling up to. And it was easy for me to provide that information because I'd already been on that level of journey and I was already, seeing a lot of myself a while back in where they were at and the challenges they were facing, on all of the different levels, business and personality. So it was really awesome to have that just come together through inspired action.
Yeah, that's awesome. I mean, the fact that you tailor the program just for the people, the beta members who signed up, that's such a smart way of going about it, because you know it's grounded in real customer research
Yeah.
and real issues that people are going through, and then you know exactly how to make it a program that speaks to them and solves their problems directly. I always say personalization is what sells. Personalization is what people like, um, in terms of everything selling, and then in terms of actual like the program, the coaching itself. Like, it's all about customization and personalization, and it sounds like you did that really well, and built it based off of that principle. Um,
Yeah.
what I'm wondering is, so the people that partook in your challenge,
Mhm.
were they already clients one-on-one, or they were just random people on Facebook, or what?
So they were people that had contacted me in my Facebook group. So I run a conscious creation community Facebook group, and that's where I run all my challenges. So I keep that for people that really want to engage in my content. So I do all my challenges in there. I do all my lives in there. That's where I kind of show up and actually provide the most free value that there is out there. So if people want to experience me, they need to be in that group, I guess. And yeah, I had connected with a lot of new friends. So very much how we connected, got to know the people that I was making new friends with, understood who they were, really valued and liked them, created a relationship, and then they organically wanted to be in my group, or we
Oh,
wanted to collaborate in some way. And then ultimately they then took part in the 7-day challenge, and I just followed up with everyone to find out how they'd gone with the challenge and what they loved, what they didn't love, what they wanted more of, and then provided them with the opportunity to continue working. I think the one thing that really stood out for me at that point was how much I didn't want to stop working with those people at the end of 7 days. There
oh, okay.
was
You
there
wanted to
was
do more.
yeah, there was no when I started the challenge, I literally started the challenge because I wanted to help people. I'd realized how many people I had in business in my group, and I knew they needed some support, and I had some really easy ways of helping them over a 7-day period. So I wanted to gift that. And when it came to like the end of the 7 days, I didn't want to stop working with any of them. I wanted to continue. And with that in mind, I thought, well, why am I not offering to continue working with these people? They're incredible. They've done so much in 7 days. Imagine what we could do in 12 weeks.
Right, right. And that makes a lot of sense, because it's like you get deeper and deeper with someone as you go, and you don't want to just stop after 7 days of work. You
Yeah.
want to keep on progressing and making more progress, and it doesn't make any sense to cut it off. So I really like how you built your Facebook group. So it was just an organic process of like networking, let's say, for lack of a better word, with people on Facebook, um, and friending them and having real conversations. And something that you do that I love is, like, you in the Messenger, Facebook Messenger, you use your voice.
Yeah.
Which is like nobody does that, and it already puts you, like, it makes you stand out, because it's like a real person's talking to you. And
Yeah.
I think that people people, so I've seen a handful of people do it, but I can count on my fingers how many people have done that. And it definitely always stands out when someone does use their voice. Yeah, it's that personal touch, and it seems like you've built your whole Facebook group that way, which funnels into everything else that you offer, including the group, including challenges and one-on-one, I'm guessing. Yeah. So you have a nice little kind of system there.
Yeah.
In terms of, so how do you get new people in the group now? Is that more challenges?
To be honest, it's growing very organically. So a lot of people invite other people into the group, which is really lovely. I released a co-authored book that went to a #1 bestseller probably about a month ago, a month and a day.
Nice.
I think yesterday we celebrated that.
Awesome. Yeah, congratulations.
Thank you. So my next challenge is on the insights from my chapter in the book. So my book was all about the entrepreneurial journey. So the next challenge that I'm doing is 12 days of insights, and I'm advertising that now alongside the book to invite people to come in and have 12 days of coaching to dig a bit deeper into the insights that I shared. So that's probably the next challenge. But most of the time it's just that organic growth. If people sign up to my mailing list, they get invited into the group because I tell them very straight up that that's where I hang out. So that's if they want to see me live, if they wanted to get some insights, some information, if they want to learn. And in my group, I use the Facebook units as well now. So all of my trainings, so all of my trainings.
Oh, nice. Yeah.
So all of my trainings, people can find them really easily, and they can kind of like dig deeper into what's already been provided for them. And that's what I've done with my 7-day business building challenge and my accountability challenge. They're both now in units that people can go through at their own pace and enjoy, and kind of go back over as many times as they want once they're in the group, which is fab. So great option there.
Yeah, no, I'm using, I recommend Teachable to most people, and I use Teachable myself, and I didn't actually realize that Facebook had their own like learning management platform. I mean, that's awesome. Yeah, you can do it right there, and it eliminates friction for people for having to travel from Facebook out to somewhere else. You can easily get someone to do the units, to do the lessons, just because they're already in Facebook and they're already in your group. Yeah. So it's frictionless experience.
And the one thing that I really love about doing it in there, because I do use Teachable for my group, but what I love about the units is that everyone else that's already done the challenges, they've made comments, so you can actually see when you're watching the live who says what and who experienced what. And then when somebody new comes in and makes a new comment, everyone else gets notified, and it's like the journey kicks off again. They get reminded about what we talked about, how it worked. They then make comments to that person that's newly started that challenge, and so it starts that whole community vibe and that community feel, which is what I really want to kind of like nurture and nourish. So doing it in that platform is awesome.
Right, and you can't really do that for Teachable alone, because that's just really putting your videos up there. But this has the whole, as you said, the community vibe, which adds so much to a group. So I know you mentioned that. So you get people in the group, and it's a 12-week program. How exactly does that work? Are you doing video calls or lives, or how do you structure that?
Yeah. So with the Conscious Creation Business Accelerator, what I've been doing is everyone has that one-to-one to kick things off with me. So they get a personalized view of what they're going to achieve over those 12 weeks. It
starts with a meeting with you one-on-one.
Yeah.
You get a really deep understanding of them. And how many people do you accept into the groups at one time?
There's usually been around about 8 or so, and I run a couple of different times on one particular day so that people can nip in and out, because entrepreneurs, things come up and I don't want them to miss sessions. So I never have more than 8 people on a call, because I like to keep it nice and I guess intimate, and also that it's not too big that people can't create that connection and those friendships, because that also makes the program what it is, creating those lasting friendships and connections with people.
Right.
So we do that one-to-one call. They set up their program. I walk them through all of the self-study material that I do have in Teachable that I love. It sets them up with a loose framework for how to run their weeks and their days. So I suggest that, we have planning days and processes and rituals and things like that to really set up their week for success. And then I provide them with the option of a 2-week integration period. So once they've had a one-to-one with me, there's usually a lot that comes out that they can update, they can reinvent, they can go through. So I give them 2 weeks to, if they choose to use it, before they have to start in the group program. So it gives them the opportunity to really get themselves where they want to be before they have their next session and actually kick things off again, which I think is really valuable for people.
So they can choose when they kind of come back to you.
Within
So
2 weeks, yeah.
within 2 weeks. Okay.
Yeah,
So I get it. So within 2 weeks, they have the option whenever they want
yeah,
to kind of kick it off.
yeah.
Cool. So then it goes, um, what happens after that?
So then it's group sessions. So then they get 11 weeks of coming into the group sessions. And at the moment, I run them on Mondays. So Mondays is a great day to start the week.
What time on Mondays? Just
2 times. So I start one session at 8 o'clock in the morning for us in Brisbane and 1:30 in the afternoon.
okay.
Yeah.
So okay, 8 and 1:30. Okay,
Yeah.
got it.
So it kind of captures the majority of people because I've got people all over the world in different time zones. So at the moment, that kind of works for the people that I've got in there, which is great. So 2 times on Monday, people can come in and out, but they normally get into a routine. And I do try and suggest that they do that. So they stick to one or the other. And then we have a Facebook group that supports them in the program. So once they've had their time in the group, they go into the Facebook group, their time in the session, they go into the Facebook group and they write out what they're going to do for the week.
Okay. So that's like an
And
activity that's associated with the group session.
yeah,
Okay,
yeah.
got it.
So I call them the conscious creation success steps. So they're consciously creating the steps to success that are in alignment with the program that we've talked about in the one-to-one. So they have an overarching idea of where they're going to be in 12 weeks time, and then the group sessions are what keep them on track throughout the week. And then once they know where they're going, they go into the Facebook group and they say what they're going to do and how they're going to do it. I acknowledge each of those posts, and then each of those people go off and do the work that they need to do for that week, and then they keep updating that same post throughout the week. And
Oh,
at the
they're up there in the same post. Okay,
yeah,
got it.
and then at the end of the week, they send me an accountability and reflection form, because that looks back on how's this week actually gone. So what came up? Did you do your practices? Did you do the rituals? Did you stick to what you said you wanted to do? If not, why not? How did it go? You know, all of those kind of reflective
Right.
tools to really get them thinking about their habits, their behaviors, their thought processes, and also their boundaries around, you know, how far they can actually manage to get in a week versus what they
Right.
think they'd like to. So
Gotcha. You got to be realistic about things.
exactly.
So every week then they're giving themselves homework and action steps with your help.
Yeah.
Okay,
Yeah.
so that's what's going on. And then in the beginning, in your initiation call, it's kind of a long-term strategy. We'll call it roadmap or strategy for like what their goals are and what they want to achieve by the end of this 12 weeks.
Yeah. So when I engage a new client into any program, but into the groups, they always get an engagement pack, and within the pack, they kind of sit down and they work through an intake form, which gives me an indication of what they're actually wanting. Now, I always talk to all of my clients before they sign up. They don't get the link to be able to actually engage in any of my programs without having spoken to me. So I do all of those discovery calls myself. So I already know a little bit about their business, where they want to go, what they want to do. And then we just take it one step deeper and one step deeper. So seeing it written down gives me an idea to be able to feel into what exactly are they doing, how can it be improved, what insights am I getting around quick wins for them to achieve, and how to change and shift thought processes. And then in that one-to-one, we're ready for that conversation. So, you know, I warm them up to, this is what I've seen in your form, this is where I'd like to focus, this is what I really think we need to work on to, you know, remove or release in order to get you thinking about what you need to do. Because a lot of the time, what I have noticed with entrepreneurs, you know, whatever is happening in their personal life affects their business, and they think that they can separate the two, and oftentimes they can't. So if their head is not right in the lifestyle part of their world, the business is going to be reflecting that as well. There's got to be an equilibrium of understanding between those things, because when you're an entrepreneur, your life and your business are you. So we look after you first off.
Oh yeah, definitely. I mean, it definitely matters. Like, you can't really separate what's going on personally from what's going on in your business. It's really integrated. And is it kind of like a Zoom call, or?
So we look at what went well for them the previous week, what's going well for them, what they're looking forward to this week, what's challenging them. So we talk about those kind of things first off, and then I ask them, the ultimate question: what do they actually need support with this week? What are they actually planning on doing? What do they think they need to be doing? Because this is all about giving them the confidence and their responsibility to own their journey, to know that they've got an idea of where their business needs to be, and they've got 12 weeks of being able to utilize me at full capacity in the
Right.
Facebook group, in the coaching calls, in the one-to-one, to be able to kind of guide them and steer them and give them confidence and support in the decisions they want to take their business in. So they have, those big goals at the beginning where we talk about where they're going to be and how they're going to get there. And then each week it's kind of like, okay, so how far have we got now? What are we breaking it down to? How are we getting the next stage? And that's where that reflection piece comes in and becomes really critical at the end of the week, to be able to say, I could do it, I couldn't do it, and then we talk about patterns of when we're in our flow and when we're forcing things, things just never seem to work out the way that we want them to. So it's, bringing their awareness to the things that they're probably neglecting, ignoring, resisting at that time really helps them establish a better pattern of work and when to call on their resources and when just to settle down and not worry it's not the right time.
Mm. No, I like that. I think that makes sense to me, and I think it's a very doable structure in terms of it's pretty much coaching sessions you're doing. They are coaching sessions, but you're doing it in a group format, and it makes plenty of sense. Each week is like going over what happened the previous week and then coming up with action steps, micro steps to get you one step closer to achieving the goal. And then I'm guessing that there's feedback from other people in the group. So it's not even all on you. They can help each other out as well and give each other support and feedback on the goals. How does that come into play? Like how does the community help each other interact with each other?
So most of the time they connect in the Facebook group. So they all reach out and they put their queries and their questions into the group so that everyone can benefit from those ideas and those thoughts. Because people are on different stages of their journey. So other people can then respond in once they've been tagged in a post and give their opinion, give their feedback. If someone's updating their website and they need people to proofread their copy, they just tag everyone in the group and then everyone comes in and gives them feedback and says, it resonated, it didn't resonate,
Gotcha.
All that kind of stuff. And then ultimately they get my feedback and my thoughts and, everyone gets to choose what they want as an end result because it's their business. So they have to be able to stand on their own 2 feet and say, I'm doing this because it's my business, my decision, bottom line. I'm not there to actually tell them there's one way of doing it because there isn't. I'm there to give them my experience, my my thoughts, my inspired actions, my intuitive guidance, whatever it is that I think is going to help them optimally get to where they need to be. But ultimately they have to make those decisions for themselves in how their business is going to run, because the point of my program is not for them to be reliant on me or anyone else to get where they need to be. They need to be self-sustaining to manage their business and have that confidence.
Totally. And I like that it's not one size fits all. Kind of everyone has their own business, and the challenges in every person's business are all different. They might have things in common, but really everyone goes through slightly different challenges when it comes to the business. So after the 12-week program, what happens next?
So at the end of the 12-week program, everyone gets a reflection session with me. I really like to round off that program with that opportunity of just sitting back and saying, so how was it for you, and where were you and who were you when you started 12 weeks ago, and all of these things that have happened and occurred for you, and where are you now, and what's the next step for you. And then we talk about, where they want to go next. So most of the time I have a lot of people that want to continue working with me through that program. So they're already contacting me before the end of the 12 weeks and saying, you know, what can be my next step? And that was interesting. Yeah, that was interesting with the beta group, because you and I know 12 weeks is not a huge amount of time to get a big change in your business, or to level you to a certain, it's just a foundation building block. So I saw that there was a natural need, and I loved my groups working together. You know, they really thrived in that environment. So I started a new beta group, which is the Accelerator Master Circle, which becomes a 6-month program and takes the content from the self-study material to the next level. So we talk about gaining, you know, international publications, articles, you know, blogging, contributing, really creating collaborations on a different level that they haven't really committed to or thought about from, you know, a 12-week perspective. So
going much deeper into everything.
Yeah, everything becomes, you know, next level and really widening and broadening their scope. But the Accelerator Master Circle program that's for 6 months has to have a different energy and a different expectation around it. So I don't just do group calls in that program. I do 3 weeks of group calls and then 1 week of one-to-ones, so that every month everybody gets a one-to-one with me. So they can
nice mix.
Yeah, they can just air whatever they need to in a private setting as well, and really talk about letting go and letting loose and just feeling really heard and vulnerable, because I think in that journey everybody needs that, and sometimes that requires space, you know, not being in that group environment. So having that 6-month option of giving them that space as well, I think is a real bonus, and speaks well for the program's success.
Yeah, no, definitely. Yeah, it's like your success students, and it's everyone who's really serious and who has proven that they can take action and they're serious in terms of working with you. And I imagine that's a very successful collection of people that are in that program.
Yeah. So that program starts up on the 5th of February. So that's my next beta round. And that's going to be invitation only from those that have been in the accelerator. But for the beta group, for the people in my conscious creation community, I've offered it out to them for a one-time only opportunity to come into it not having done the accelerator. And as a bonus to coming into doing that 6-month program, because I appreciate the commitment that is, they also get a month in the accelerator for free. So they get to experience the accelerator. I get to feel confident that they're already ready, having experienced that kind of dynamic.
Gotcha.
They get the self-study material, and then in February they're ready to go in the master circle. Yeah,
I like it. Yeah, that's a good way to. Yeah, it's a good way to fit those two things together, and kind of open it up to more people.
Yeah,
open up the new program to more people.
Yeah, because awesome. I know there were people that were ready for that program.
Yes.
And I know that there's people out there that want that level of integration into coaching in their business. And that was just a really good opportunity to give them the bonus of bridging the gap. Yeah.
Yep, definitely. So if someone has a question or a referral for you, or just wants to get in touch, how can they do that? How can they learn more?
Oh, about me? Absolutely. So website is always one of the best places to go to. So that's www.alisoncallan.com. Also email. So on my website is my email address, all of my details about how to get in touch with me, business pages, Facebook groups, all kinds of things. So everything is always on their website, as well as all of my free resources, which is the 7-day business building challenge, the 7-day accountability challenge, my mindset pathway, and my group. So
I'll definitely
volume of stuff.
I'll link to all those in this post so everyone can easily access all of that.
Awesome.
Awesome. So yeah, thank you so much, Allison. I really appreciate you taking the time to discuss the structure of your group program, and I'm hoping that it'll inspire other people who are ready to launch a group program.
Yeah.
who just needed to hear about how to put it on mechanically, and also some inspiration on hosting a successful one.
Yeah.
So thank you so much
So
for sharing
welcome.
all of that. I
Oh,
appreciate it.
you're so welcome. Thank you so much. It's been so much fun. I've really enjoyed connecting with you.